Do you have to be an estate agent to run a large corporate estate agency? Today I'm joined by Rob Smith, who is boss man of Whitegates and Hunters. So he's responsible for over 150, 160 estate agency offices. Rob, do you need to be an estate agent to run an estate agency? Talk to me.
I think it's very useful, without a shadow of a doubt,
Okay.
for you to be an estate agent. Would I say it's essential? Yes, probably, based on the fact that the knowledge and experience you've built up in that field is invaluable to help every single individual person in your business. And my experience is the more you remember what it's like to be on the ground floor, the more you remember the job of the person who's dealing face to face with the customer, the more empathy you can show with them, the more development you can give them, the more you can actually put processes and structure in place to get that right. Because it's that makes the difference from my perspective. It's the people on the ground floor that make the difference.
I mean, there's been a litany of names that have come in. I mean, the biggest one's got to be Alison Platt, who basically, whether Countrywide was on the ropes at the time, I don't think they were, but basically sold it for pennies to Connell Sequence.
Yes.
And there's other examples, but then there's other examples like Carl Howard, who's responsible for Andrews, you know, a big 50, 60 branch network in the Southwest, you know, and he's turning them around. He has never valued a house in his life. I mean, the other part of the coin is this. There's plenty of people come into a estate agency, but when was the last time you saw an estate agent go and run
Another business. Another retail business or any other business like that.
Or is that not because we just don't hear of it? What's your thoughts?
I think there is. I think people believe that our industry is quite easy to run, and therefore most people in senior management can do it. I think that.
I mean, you don't need to be a footballer to be a great football manager.
No, that's absolutely true. But what you've got to be able to do is spot great footballers.
True.
And if you can spot great footballers and coach and develop them and have a great team around you that also are great at what they do, then you've got a tick in the box. But if you haven't, then you are very reliant on the people that are around you to make the decisions or help you make the decisions. Whereas if you've got an experience, if you're an experienced footballer, yeah, you've got a great idea what good looks like. You can get even better if you've got other people around you that can develop you further.
Okay, let's just that's interesting. Let's just spend a couple of minutes going down another rabbit hole. Is how many times have you seen a great valuer be promoted to be a branch manager and really F it up?
On multiple occasions and more often than not. Because they're great at what they do, and great valuers, from my experience, great valuers are relatively selfish people. They're out the office all day. They don't have to answer the phone. They're on people's sofas. They're winning instructions face to face. They're not necessarily the best team players because they want to get out of it what they want to get out of it. And therefore, when they become branch managers, either because they think they should or whether the boss thinks that we should, when they go into that next stage, they're not really versed in doing it because they don't work within a team. They're isolated, they're out and about, so they don't
get
the teamwork side.
The skill set to be a valuer is a completely different skill set.
To be a
team. I mean, don't get me wrong, if we do a Venn diagram, there's a lot of crossover, but...
Yeah, totally. But it's more, we used to find that valuers became good managers when they were managing a small team where they were still the valuer manager. So they influenced the business directly themselves. So they were able to go out, put houses on the market and be comfortable that the team were doing what needed to be done in their absence. Having other people go out and value houses and you being in the office managing the team is a very different forte. And therefore, what we used to see, and we've seen a lot, is the manager then turns around and instead of training the valuers to be really good and as good as them, they go out and do the job for them, and then they lose what's going on in the office, and they might put a few houses on the market, but then they're not selling them.
So through your time as, being area directors and divisional directors, what's the best way to get a branch manager who is a valuer singing off, performing really well, but not go out? Or does it just require a decent neg who's good with empathy and can lead people?
I think there's different ways to look at it. I think if their forte genuinely is sitting on someone's sofa and winning an instruction, be it sales or lettings, then that's the best way for them to influence the office. But you need a number two. You need an assistant manager, a sales manager, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Somebody who's sitting back in the office making sure that everything's ticking. And when you're in a branch, it's process orientated. What are we saying? Are we doing everything we should be doing when we take an offer, when we book a viewing? Are we doing the right things? Is everybody in the team doing that? And if you've got a good person sat back in the branch sweeping up and tidying up that for you, then win the instruction. If you've got a good valuer, then we need to train the valuer who's going to become a branch manager. We need to train them to be on people skills, on how to motivate people, how to coach people, how to talk to people.
And what about great branch managers that become area managers? It's the same issue there, isn't it?
It is the same issue. I think there's a little bit of a benefit in that they've managed people, so they're used to managing people. So they've at least got some good habits. The difficulty I've always experienced, or always seen with people is it's the remote management that is a real challenge. It's very different sitting in front of your team every single day of the week, because you can control what goes on. So if you're seeing somebody once a fortnight, as soon as you walk out of that branch, who knows what they're doing the next day.
Can you remember making the move yourself?
I can remember making the move myself, and I can remember doing it well and sometimes doing it badly. Normally when I did it badly, I left the branch without putting into place exactly what needed to be done. So I became reliant on somebody taking my instructions with a clear plan and doing it the next day or the following day. The problem with that is everyone gets sidetracked. They might do it badly. They might not totally understand with clarity what you wanted to happen. So it became easier to physically do it with them. So we left them knowing, whether it's training or whether it was a process or whether it was a tidying up the hot box or whatever it was at the time, do it with them, so you've left them relatively competent and you know it's going to happen.
Rob, thank you for your time today.
It's a pleasure.